afternoon. This show is under the helm of Westchester Roundup and is part of my state-of-the-art conversations. I'm the guest host. I'm Gino Civale, and I have here an artist whom I respect a lot, Lisa Samalin from with a studio in Yonkers, and I've invited her to come and review with me some of her images. Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you, Gino, and thank you for inviting me.
Okay, the first reaction I have when I started looking at your work in the past and now, again, altogether these images, I have a feeling that to tell a story is not really your main interest, that you rather present the environment where this scene, this image is, and then you let others contribute to this image. Is that the way you want it to happen?
I like that. I mean, I don't know how it is for every painter or every artist, but for me, I don't, in that sense, have anything mentally or verbally scoped out of what I'm trying to do. I'm just instinctively going where I'm led, but I like what you said, so it must ring true to me.
And you do not want to force me to see something special.
No,
You're just presenting it.
I want to create an environment that you, in some sense, can enter into. And what my dearest hope is that there will be some response from your heart, from your feelings, from your memory, from your experience of being alive that will in some way connect with mine.
So from your angle, it's a full respect of reality. You are not forcing me into one specific direction, and you are hoping that I'm sensitive enough to appreciate something.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so it's an invitation to conversation, which is exactly what we're doing. And
I mean, as a matter of fact, not to get off
and
topic.
if I may say something, I noted that the clock is not working, so I don't know what's happening.
The clock?
Okay, now it's finally working.
Oh, okay.
You see,
I don't know if
for
that was
one
a
moment,
symbolic
I was looking at a specific clock which got stuck on a number. I guess we will have to play the lottery
Excellent.
with that
Time
number.
has stopped. I love it.
Okay, so let's start looking at some of the images.
Okay.
Now, first of all, let me say that I'm quite impressed about the fact you've done all these murals, all these large, very large paintings. And even when I came into your studio in Yoho, there's entire walls covered by your painting. And it's not that you present these as an iPhone picture that just is there. There is some sort of life that comes through some details. You have to look at it. You have to feel that for example, just this one, there is 16 varieties of green. Green is the most difficult color for most painters.
Really?
Yes, it is. To a point that I
Difficult in what sense?
difficult in the sense that there are so many nuances in green.
Yes.
If you mix it with yellow, you mix it with red, with brown, with black, and so on. And you almost have in here a full spectrum of greens.
Oh, okay.
And so what do I derive? I derive a peaceful examination of a natural scene, and the water is tranquil, and I feel at home. I feel fine.
Oh, good.
Is that what also was coming from you? You wanted to reflect that? Was this an assignment?
Again, I don't know specifically what sort of evoked this painting, was, this was several years ago, and I went through this series of images that were all called self-portrait as. I mean, they were not literally self-portraits. And I was responding to something. I had found a photograph of the young woman on the ladder. In reality, the photograph, I believe, was black and white. It was showing during World War II in London.
Yes.
The bombings had broken the glass in the store windows.
Yes.
And a group of young, it makes me cry, a group of young artists, they had to put wood to replace the glass, and a group of young artists went out and painted beautiful things on the wood, which somehow I just felt very deeply about, because I felt, I think I related.
It was a reaction to
Yeah.
disaster.
Yes, and I sort of related to my life, the
Yes.
long story of my life, and to the role art has played in my life.
Yes.
So I wanted to put her, in a beautiful place, which actually that is some canal in London somewhere.
Yes. So it's a liberation from doom, from tragedy. So it's like what prayer does in certain religions,
Yes.
that you elevate your
Absolutely.
mind and your
Absolutely.
feelings,
Yeah.
and you don't let adversity to bring you down.
Well, it's very interesting you say that, because
Okay, so let's see what the next
Yeah.
image. Now this one also is sort of it's almost close to be expressionistic. Why? Because a couple of walls are leaning a little bit to the left. Now that leaning is, of course, corresponds to expressionism, to wanted to give some message or whatever. And then there is a counterbalance of the tree on the other side that keeps the whole thing together, and all these chairs and steps and all these other details keeps the whole thing together. Is what did you want to represent with this? A particular canal, street?
I mean, it's a photograph I came across. I believe it's a street in Paris, I'm not even sure. But I had separately found an image, a black and white image from turn of the last century, of this child painting. And there was something in her expression that, again, related to my own life and my own story and the way art functioned, particularly in my childhood. It was like my safety and my uninvadable realm. So it was another step in a kind of self-portrait.
So for you, it's a step, a progress in your growing yourself, in maturing yourself, and you want to share with others that you're feeling fine. At this point, you're almost fine there, right?
Well, I don't know how fine I am, because
But
if you look,
I'm
it's hard
comfortable.
to see. I'm glad. No, there is a piece, and I'm glad you're comfortable, and I like that. But it's hard for me to see if you can see it on the TV screen, but there's a sheer fabric with a little pattern that's sewn on, covering her face. And I thought about it later, why did I do it? And if I had to verbalize something, I think it was because I was showing the sort of distance I felt from the world as a child, or that need to be somehow enclosed or made safe. So.
Did you feel excluded growing up from the society?
I would say yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So it's the
Yes.
typical feeling of
Yes.
an artist, of a creative artist,
Yes.
to react to the, let's call it, solitude, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, let's look at the other image.
Okay, so this was the first actual self-portrait. Yes.
Is that you, some sort of variation of you?
It is definitely me. It's
Is what
me.
you would like to be, colorful,
I think
colorful
it's
dress?
me. I mean, that actually is how I dress. And there's a real piece of turquoise kind of silky fabric that I attached to the canvas. But this one's called The Advent of the Morning Glories, and you know, it just feels miraculous when the morning glories
And
start
you feel
to come.
good, right?
Yes,
Isn't
I
that
do.
the feeling?
Yes,
I derived that.
thank you. And I
You're
think
happy.
I'm happy.
You're
and-
happy.
Yes.
And how do you express happiness with a lot of colors?
Mm-hmm.
And also, every color is controlled, is not let go like
Okay.
a total expressionist or
Yeah.
abstract or whatever.
Yeah.
And the greens, again, there are a lot of greens there. I would say there is at least 4 or 5 variations of greens,
Right.
which is amazing. I understand that you've done murals for homes and for hospitals and
Yeah.
offices.
Yes.
Which one occupies you the most?
You mean amongst the mural work?
Most the murals, yes.
The hospitals, definitely.
Hospitals.
Yeah.
Now, in the hospitals, do they tell you that you have to project a certain feeling or image, or they let you go free?
The content is collaborative in
Oh,
that
collaborative.
sense.
So-
Yeah.
so there are some
it's
suggestions.
a children's hospital that I've
Yeah,
done
children, yes.
many murals in, and you know, there's always people who have to be accountable to somebody about something, about what
So-
the image contains.
So what do you feel yourself
Mhm.
that is appealing to a child when he looks at a wall?
My real desire is, and maybe it's coming out of the place that, you know, something's evoked about my own childhood within me, but I want that child to feel not alone. I want the child, the family that's going through this, usually stressful circumstances, and also the staff, because I worked on and off there for years, and I was so moved by the way the staff just gets it up for those kids all day, every day. So I wanted all of those people, first the child, the family, the staff, to even for a fleeting second intuitively feel that somebody cared about
Yes.
what they're going through.
And this care, the presentation of the care is either nature or a habitat which is not hostile.
It could be animals. It could
Yes.
be anything. I've done many different.
So it's a friendly social habitat that you
Yes.
try to portray.
A place that you would hope the person will feel good,
Okay.
will evoke some sense of peace or some kind of assurance.
And it's not a pastry shop, no?
It's not a pastry shop.
No, I'm just kidding. In
That
other
would, that
words,
would be reassuring. I
Yeah.
get that, yes.
in other words, there is very little screaming or complaining in most of your work. They're very peaceful
Ah,
and they're very emotionally open, like open arms, right?
Oh, wow.
Is
Thank you.
that what you
I
wanted to
don't
achieve?
think, I want to achieve that, but it makes me, again, happy to hear that you respond that way
Well,
to it.
I have to give you my personal opinion because,
Yeah.
of course, another 100 people
Of course.
may give it 100 variations.
But I do get that a lot.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
that's-
that people will say,
Oh, then you're,
it
then you're
makes
lucky.
me feel
You're happy.
good. Yes,
You're getting to.
Yes.
You're on track with what you want
Yes.
to do, which
Yes.
is fantastic.
Yes.
Most artists are unhappy all their life
Oh, no.
because they cannot see
Oh.
what they really want to express.
Really?
Oh yes, that's my absolute feeling.
Ah,
A strong statement that the majority of the artists are
Everything
not
said.
happy
All
with
right.
their work,
Mm.
so in a way you are lucky.
I
Remember
am lucky,
that.
and I know
Okay.
it. Thank you.
Okay, next image. I
Yeah.
think we have a
Oh, yeah.
quite interesting man.
No, that's me.
Oh, that's you. Okay. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
I thought for a moment it was like from a person from India, or what have you,
Yeah,
someone
somebody
from
else said something like that.
right. Did anybody else see that?
I forget what somebody told
Because
me.
I had painted an Indian man breaking stones for the
Oh.
highway,
Oh, wow.
and it's so similar to your work. I had to
Wow.
show it to you.
I had the good fortune to go to India in
Yes. And
after I painted that, but felt such a tremendous positive, like, linking up with India when I was there. But this was really, I asked my husband to shoot a picture of me. Quickly, he was running out to work. I was sitting on the sofa in real life. And then I ended up painting it on that polka dot fabric and adding the cotton as clouds. And it just started to feel like a creation myth.
Interesting. So the cotton is clouds.
Yeah.
In other words, those are thoughts that might be in the head of the person.
Maybe.
Or they're just surrounding matter up there.
She started to feel like she was something, like on a mountaintop or in some place, either physically or metaphysically, on some high place. So it started to feel mythical to me.
Yes, and I must tell you, you have a lot of courage as an artist presenting so much green in no, so much of a large surface, because it could have been done with 3 or 4 different colors, but it really takes strength and energy in what you're doing there. And so this image can never make me sad.
Oh.
So it's not probably what you wanted to reflect.
Oh no, it's not what I wanted to reflect.
Fine. So, all right. So there is another image which is coming up, which
that's a rowboat in the center.
The precision which you execute the flowers.
No, that's floral fabric. I simply painted the rowboat.
Simply the rowboat. Okay,
yes.
So you love the presentation of the flowery elements.
I loved
and you added something as a contrast.
I loved it, but I found it slightly claustrophobic. So I wanted to sort of use it but escape it, so I painted the rowboat. And I called that piece Escaping from the Past.
Okay.
Because I'm sure all of us have some aspects of our previous life or early life that feel, well, I'm not sure, but in my case, that feel claustrophobic.
Okay, so that's quite interesting. It is a boat, right?
It's
it is a boat.
Mm-hmm.
And I found the boat being like an element of salvation.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. So I got the right feeling.
Getting out of there.
Yeah, I did not see. I missed the claustrophobic aspect.
Right.
But I did feel that.
Good.
And so it's like taking a trip down a river, and you don't know where you're going, but you feel safe on the boat.
Oh,
right?
Good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next item is.
In the midst of a process in which myself, my husband, my 2 sons and their wonderful partners are all, plan is anyway, moving some hours upstate into much more of a natural
environment.
Yes. And I've been in my house for almost 35 years in Yonkers, and I have loved it dearly. So I've been going through a whole process to express my love to it.
And mentally adjust to this
and
change.
The way I can do that is if I make art that expresses my deep love for something or someone, then I can feel complete and more able to move on. So this is simply some cushions on
objects
my bed.
that you love, that you're accustomed to, your familiarity.
And somehow I'm sure you experience this, that certain objects embody some real feeling for you. So that was the case.
And even if they're not important as objects or subjects, but for some reason they become attached to your mind. They're part of it.
Exactly.
That's the feeling. I had the feeling when I looked at it that you must have loved those pillows.
Oh, good.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
And the next one is this one is quite a contrast, because you have the frame, which is material.
Well, it's just painted on the material, right?
Okay. but it becomes a frame
Absolutely.
which is shining
Yes.
as a contrast versus a dark background, an evening, a night. But at the same time, there is hope because you're finding the diner. You're not going to starve that night.
That's interesting.
Right? So now you're driving, and all of a sudden you're finding the diner.
Yay! a
Right?
diner. I think I had painted. I couldn't show them all, but I had painted many scenes of Yonkers in the last month or
Yes,
two.
I know
And
that
I
was
finally
Yonkers.
reached a place where, okay, we're good. And then I thought, let me start to move on to my dreams or imaginings or my feelings about where we're going to end up. So.
I would like you to tell us a little more about some of these items you brought
Sure.
and show them here from
To
the
that?
camera.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah. Okay. Well, this is a handmade book from a few
Yeah,
years
this
ago.
is the direction.
And she comes out. I think I'm very interested. I was thinking about it. Like when I was a kid, there were all these kind of, of course, these books you could buy to coloring books or connected dots or sometimes paper dolls, and you'd cut them out and put them in places. And I loved that stuff, and I still do. So, and the older I get, the more I'm interested in the whole phenomenon of aging and
Oh,
how
yes.
this culture,
Aren't we
the
all?
disaster of how this culture regards aging. So it's just images of this same.
So you plan on
woman.
making let's call it the equivalent of a children book,
Yes, kind of.
right?
Yes.
But this is related to more of a
The
person of
story
older
of,
age
and exactly.
and some of the things surrounding. This is quite interesting. It's what
Thank
they
you.
call this an artist book, right?
Yeah,
It's
I
an
believe
artist
they
book
do.
because it's originally made with your hands,
Yes.
assembled,
Yes.
and present.
And
Okay.
it's just one. Look,
Artist
she's on
book,
TV
yes.
like me.
Huh?
I said she's on TV.
Yeah, but you're on TV like today.
Exactly. The book came true. Oops. Just
Interesting.
different aspects of what I imagine her life to be and have been.
Yes, interesting.
Thank you.
So different pages of a life.
And we're almost done. My favorite is the last. No, not this. I like this one.
Yes,
But
I love this one.
Oh,
This-
thank you.
Now
Me
you're in
too.
America, in the United States, in a topi.
And I
TP.
love this one because she's sort of in the river of time.
That's
So.
good. Now
Thanks.
you have also.
Yeah, this is sort of a little mini installation that I'd actually done a full-scale installation partly like this, but
Yes.
I just did this recently. That was another thing from childhood that in school we had to do dioramas, which
Yes,
is basically
diorama.
you take a box and you make a world in it, and I never got over that. I'm still
Yes.
doing it. And some of these small pieces from several years ago are, I would paint the figure and find a setting
Well,
for
you
the
see
figure
a
that-
lighthouse in the back.
I think it's a chimney.
Oh, it's a chimney. Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Quite interesting. They're equivalent, almost.
Yeah. Could
When you
be.
the
Certainly
shape-wise,
visually, yeah.
yes.
Yes. And it's a very interesting way to explore content fairly quickly.
Mm-hmm.
To take this little cutout paper doll, in effect,
Yes.
that I've made
And also
try her, him
Yes.
in different settings and see what kind of emotional response it evokes in me.
Right.
And the ones that seem to be talking about something that mattered to me, I
So this is
kept.
like Renoir's figures in the.
Yeah, well, this is very much about femaleness, about women, about an aspect of that seems to sort
Which during the Impressionism also was quite part of the story that the artist wanted to show, right? It was always an aspect of social aspect,
Okay.
right? Now this one is more about school, right?
Yeah, that's actually me from a photograph of me as a small child, and I think it to me conveys the kind of disconnect that I felt between me and
The disconnect is
basically
because
everybody else. Yeah.
the children were not friendly, or you did not feel
Just
comfortable?
things that were going on in my house that made me feel
Oh.
different or other or cut off from myself and then consequently everyone.
Yeah. Now, I understand. I've seen you have a studio in Yoho, and you're doing all this work, portraits, murals.
Yes.
What is your next major event? Do you have an exhibition coming up? Or?
I am going to participate for the second year in an art festival. Actually, at the Open Studio in Yoho, I
Yes.
met.
Next May, probably? April, May?
Oh, well, the Open Studio will be next spring, but at the last two Open Studios ago, someone who came into the studio, his name is John Olam, and he is a dancer and choreographer and his partner Jim, and they've built a community of kind of like-minded people, and he does several times a year and once in New York an art festival.
Oh,
And
interesting.
that's November 9th and 10th.
In 2020,
I believe it's 8th Avenue and 38th Street in a building of some kind
but it's
of
going to be
dance
next
studios.
year or this year?
No, this coming fall.
Oh, the
This
coming fall. Okay.
So I'm going to
Well,
show some of the recent work and do a workshop
Yeah.
there.
When I asked you in the past whether you ever created a website with your work, you told me you did not.
No, I do.
Oh,
I
you
do have a
it?
website.
So why don't you announce
I
it
will.
so that people can
Sure. It's
can visit?
www.lisa-samalin.com. I can never remember.
Lisa-samalin.com.
And I have to update it. A lot of the recent work is
Oh, we
not
always
yet
have to
there.
update it.
Yeah.
If we are active, we never stand still, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, in conclusion,
Yes.
you are a good artist. You are
Thank you.
happy to be alive, happy to paint. And I do thank you for
Thank you
visiting
so
with
much,
us.
Gino.
And I
it's
really
wonderful
enjoyed
of you to be
our
doing
conversation.
this. I appreciate it.
Right.